another new week, it's another day, and it's another show. So, hope you all are doing well. Hope you all are keeping safe, and hope your families are safe as well. So, how are you guys doing? How are you guys managing with this strange new era that we have encountered? I must admit that this whole quarantine slash lockdown thing that we're going through. It's uh, leaving me with a rather strange feeling. Uh, you know, it's hard to describe, and it's hard to imagine us going back to normal. Uh, with our regular sort of way with this massive pandemic that's going on, and I don't know, man. I don't know if uh, I don't know if things will actually be back to normal. I don't know. What do you think? How are things going on in your end of the world? How how are you coping? How are you managing? What are you up to? I'm sure most of you guys have uh, little projects here and there going on, and I've managed to catch quite a few of the projects that guys have been busy with, and lately in this past week, I haven't seen much new projects coming out or guys working on. Um, and I think it's more because we're not able to get all of this little RC necessities that we are looking for. So it's gonna be interesting. Gonna be very very interesting to see how we manage with things. Um, yeah, so I have a few exciting topics that I'd love to uh, share with you guys, and I hope we're gonna get some input from you all, and I hope you're gonna enjoy the show. I'm trying to make it um, a little bit more interesting, a little bit more fresh. Trying to keep the content as fresh as possible, of course, um, and then we'll see from there. Hmm. So I've been wanting to try and get more people, um, more people to join in first. However, it's a little bit quiet at the moment, so I don't know. Well, let's just go for it. So I wanted to talk about the new. There's a steady. I've noticed a steady growth of newbies, of new guys entering the whole drift scene at the moment, which is very very encouraging. So this means that the hobby is growing, which means we have a larger community to work with, and a larger group of drifters keeping the hobby alive, which is absolutely fantastic. Uh, However, I still find that some of our reactions to some of these new guys are a little bit, um, how can I put it, a little bit stern, and sometimes maybe a bit too stern if we want to encourage them to keep drifting. So I've been trying to maintain that communication with them, that sort of easy going communication. So as a rule of thumb, I always ask them first, over and above what they want to do. I always ask them how far they want to take RC drifting, and I'll use a typical example of what happened today. So one of the guys posted on one of the groups. It was either the World group or it was on the UK Drift group, and he wanted to get a Sprint 2 drift. Now, the Sprint 2 in the drift world is sort of looked down upon. It's a very like entry level thing, and I think we all know about the Sprint 2. But at the same time, um, so I asked this guy, look, the first thing, what do you want to do with drifting? How far do you want to take your drifting? And that's always my first question to whoever's asking like advice on uh, you know, what chassis they want to get, or whether it's all-wheel drive, whether it's rear-wheel drive. I always ask them how far you want to take it, because if that particular person does not want to go very deep into drifting, they just simply want to do it socially, just getting together with a couple of guys, be it at a car park or at somebody's house, or even if it's the local track. Uh, all they want to do is just drift socially. They just want to get the car sideways, be it power sliding or drifting properly, whichever it may be. They just want to, that's their level of drifting. So based on that uh, answer, then I advise him, okay, you know what you want to get, it's totally fine. Take it, put your drift tires on, make a few adjustments here and there, and go for it, and just have fun with it. The likelihood of that person converting into somebody who wants to get a little bit more deeper into the hobby is far greater than us pushing for that person to go rear wheel drive. Yes, I did advise the guy that look, if you want to take it a bit further, rear wheel drive is definitely the way to go. Either way, rear wheel drive is the way to go. However, if you don't want to spend that much and your heart is set on that all wheel drive chassis, by all means, get it, go for it, have fun. But don't uh, don't take it to heart when your car is not doing what other guys' cars are doing, like the rear wheel drive cars, how it's drifting, how the guys are able to tandem door to door and run a train, and stuff like that. So you got to also realize that if that's the kind of level of drifting that you want to get yourself up to, you got to invest more of yourself, both physically, financially, and mentally. You got to invest in the hobby, and it's the same with any hobby that you do. In order for you to do it well and do it to a point where you are really enjoying yourself, you got to invest in it in whichever way and manner. So, uh, however, with all that being said, I think it's still very encouraging that we see so many of the new guys coming in and and joining in the hobby, which is absolutely awesome. So well done to all you guys for wanting to get into drifting, for taking that step into drifting. So yeah, that pretty much covers what I wanted to start off my podcast with. And so the next couple things I think is a little bit interesting, and particularly this next topic. So for a couple of weeks now, I've been watching uh, this drifter out of Malaysia. His name is his Facebook name is Zulfadli Ahmed, and I believe he's from Malaysia. So I do believe he has your regular proper drift chassis, but what really interested me about this guy is he's taken the very basic, very basic HSP Flying Fish chassis, and he's done a little bit of R&D and put some time and effort into this chassis, and actually designed a rear-wheel drive conversion for this HSP Flying Fish. Now, with that being said, and from what I've seen, it's just he's basically designed the front, a whole front suspension and a whole front some geometry for the Flying Fish. So obviously this allows you to get more lock and will give it greater control in terms of rear wheel drive. Um, I'm still a bit how can I put it? I'm not quite convinced about this little conversion kit that he has going on. I've seen a couple of, well, yeah, and by couple I mean I've literally seen like two running videos, and I will admit that yes, it is running. HSP rear wheel drive with his conversion rear wheel drive conversion parts on it. It it does drift. I can't deny that. But uh, does it drift well? That's a bit hard to say. Hard to give it a full 100% yes. It doesn't. It honestly, it really doesn't drift that well. You will get it around drifting rear wheel drive, but it really isn't that grand. I'd suppose I'd compare it to it's similar to um, the Year Racing TT02 rear wheel drive kit that's out. So the drive is very similar. Yeah, it's sort of there, but it'll get you around, but it's not quite convincing as a proper rear wheel drive chassis. Uh, and again, with that being said, I will definitely give credit where it's due for him going out there and making the effort and doing all of that research and development and um, you know doing the parts to get it to work. Um, Also, and if it happens to interest you, he does sell that all the parts for those for that conversion. If you just search on Facebook, search for Zulfadli Ahmed, you will find his profile there, and then you can message him directly and ask him about it, and ask him the cost and the shipping. Honestly, I'm not really sure what the pricing is on it. Um, so, but I've had a look at a few pictures of it. So it's a combination of some plastic parts and some 3D printed parts as well. Uh, yeah, man. I must be honest. It's not quite convincing. But again, credit to him for doing it. Which leads me to my next point. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Um, Now, with that being said, I'm not sure if he went through this whole process uh, as a way of um, sort of trying to prove a point, or whether it's to provide uh, an extremely cheap alternative to those who have like a very very tiny budget. I don't know. I don't know. I just feel that uh, whilst you may want to support him in his venture, I still think you're better off saving that money and investing in something a little bit more substantial, like a YD2 or the MST RMX. But however, the choice is yours, and it's out there for you to decide. Now, which leads me to my next topic. So something really exciting. This fairly new company has been developing. I've been watching him for a couple of years now, and just my luck, I happened to meet him at Worlds 2019, and they go by the name of Team Jordan, run by my bro Asad. And I'm sure by now you would have come across this name, Team Jordan, with his beast mode kits for the RMX and the FFX, yeah, FXX, and the Overdose Gum. And if you've seen any of those kits, you will know that they look fantastic. They work really well. Beautiful carbon fiber design kits, and I know quite a few people who are running the Team Jordan beast mode kits, and these things are literally beast mode. So that's just a little bit about that. In a future podcast, I'll bring you a little bit more detailed info about Team Jordan, the man behind it, and what drives him to do these amazing kits. So, because I'm following him, I'm always interested in what he's up to and what he does. So, a little while ago, he did mention that he's working on a little something for the YD2, and slowly but surely, he started releasing little teaser pics of what he's working on. And the other day, I managed, or it might have been earlier today actually, but I managed to catch another teaser pic that he put out, and this new YD2 conversion kit for for the YD2, it looks absolutely amazing. From the look to the design, this thing looks beautiful. It looks absolutely beautiful, and believe me when I say it's definitely one of those kits that you want to have in your collection. Um, so we know besides Team Jordan, there are already conversion kits out there. There's SPL made. There's shoot, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. There's Kamikaze. Um, and then you get a couple other companies that produce little parts, Tail Slater, Overdose, Yeah Racing. But to me, uh, it there's nothing quite like this new Team Jordan kit that's going to be released soon. Um, if you are keen and interested in one of those kits, please go and check out Team Jordan on Facebook. All you have to do is just hit that search button and type in Team Jordan. Else you can also search for Asad Abdullah Al Mahsiri. If you, I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but if you search for it, trust me, you will find it, and go and follow him, and inquire about these kits, when it's going to be released, or what's it costing. Because believe me, this thing is going to be definitely one of those kits that you're going to want to add into your collection. And I see he's also designing a new motor mount which allows you like 270 degrees of movement, so you can really fine tune that body roll and that weight shift via the motor. And I'm very interested to see how what the final product looks like and how it's all gonna come together. But at the moment, this thing looks like an absolute beast of a kit for you to get. So you definitely gonna want to have a look at that. Yeah, and once again, I'd like to thank all you guys who are listening in and tuning in. Your support means so much to me. I really appreciate it. If you have a chance, please share the link, and let's get more people listening in and enjoying. Thank you, my bro. I will attribute that uh, to my teacher, and my mom as well for teaching me how to read Arabic. So yeah, it comes from there. So I know I know a little bit how to pronounce the words and names. But yeah, man, I just want to say again, I know I've said this to you personally, but I want everybody to know that you do absolutely fantastic work, bringing in something alternative to what's out there already. Um, Obviously, there's nothing wrong with using the factory parts, but at the same time, here's a guy who's put in a lot of time and effort into doing something that is not his full-time job, by the way, um, but putting his time and effort into something that he absolutely loves for the people that loves what he loves as well, and to have gone to that extent producing a product of such quality and design is unbelievable. Me personally, I wish I I really genuinely wish I had that level of creativity to go and produce things like this here. And it seemed like my good friend Vivian from SRC, that level of creativity into putting together such an intricate product that looks so amazing and adds so much more to your car. It's unbelievable. So these are the kinds of people that we need to follow, that we need to support, because by us following and supporting them, it motivates them and it gives them inspiration to bring us better products so that we can further enjoy this beautiful hobby that we all absolutely love. Uh, Me personally, I wish I could support them all the time, but unfortunately, life is such that I can only do as much as I can. So hence, if we all pitch in together a little bit, we can make a big impact. So always remember the motto, hashtag local is lekker. Support your locals, support your local businesses, support your friends, and let's keep this hobby alive and keep it going. Yeah, I know. Sorry, my bro Young just made a comment there. He made my dream RMX. I absolutely agree. Another friend of mine, Gregory, he managed to obtain the beast mode kit for his GAM, and this thing is mind blowing, dude. It's absolutely gorgeous. This kit, and he had his name. I think he had his name engraved in the chassis. If you ask really really nicely, Team Jordan will oblige with that. Putting your name on the chassis. I think that's amazing. That's beautiful. So really well done, bro. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep bringing us all of these fantastic products, and just making us enjoy this hobby a little bit more. Uh, you know, and we hope everything works out for the best for you. Um, so that finishes off my little chat about Team Jordan. Uh, if you guys can't get hold of Team Jordan, or you can't find them, or you can't find Assad, please just get in contact with me and I'll put you in contact with them. So I don't want you guys missing out. Even if it's just you just want to support the guy by having a look at his products and liking and sharing and commenting and maybe giving some feedback, what he can and what he can't do, what works, what doesn't work. I'm sure he will appreciate every little bit there, and this will help him improve on the product that he's doing. I know some of you guys have seen the battery mount, or the battery clips that he was designing for the, I think it was for the gum, or maybe it was just the battery holder in general. So it's gonna be, uh, you will be able to open them with your hand, and it's just a fantastic little addition that you can have to your chassis. And I've seen pictures of it. It looks very, very nice. So yeah, man, keep that going. Keep that going, guys. We need you guys. Uh, we need people like you, um, who are able to push the envelope with regards to RC drifting and what's out there, so that for those of us, and I mean, when I say those of us, I mean me, who lack that kind of creativity and hands-on DIY thing, do stuff for us so that we can enjoy it. So keep that going, man. Keep that going. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely also bring the world a little bit more about what you're doing. So perhaps in our next podcast, I'll we have a quick chat with you, and let's give that back to all of the listeners here. So yeah, that ties up my end on Team Jordan and the new YD2 conversion kit that he's producing and he's going to release very, very soon. Believe me, and like I've said before, it's definitely one of those kits you want to have in your collection. Um, Even if you don't use it, you definitely want to have it, because this thing is beautiful, man. Um, I wish I could show you more pictures, but don't worry, I'm working on that. So in due time, the format of my podcast is going to change a little bit, but for the moment, we're just going to keep going till I set myself up properly. Yeah. So other than that, what are you guys up to? Um, I haven't been, like I've said in the beginning of the show, I haven't seen much new projects coming aboard. Me personally, like I've said in my last podcast, I had to stop with my Evo rear wheel drive project because the local hobby shops are closed. I'm not able to get the few parts that I need. And it's just little things like I need new rod ends, new ball studs, some turnbuckles. I need some rear wheel drive shafts, couple of bearings. It's really not that much, but it's all those nitty gritty things that I need just to finish that chassis off, and then it's done, and then electronics test, and boom, we've got another rear wheel drive chassis. So my intention, besides getting that chassis ready, is to use it as a loaner chassis for those who don't have rear wheel drive cars just yet, but are quite interested in rear wheel drive. So when I set it up in such a way that it's going to be easy for them to drive, and I'll be able to do my thing with my stuff, and then I can loan this chassis out to people who want to try drifting out or want to try rear wheel drive out. And that's really uh, one of the main intentions behind me doing that. And I think that it's important that we have uh, we have this kind of, I'm going to use the word system in place, because a lot of the time people like new guys will approach us and say, can I try that out? And we're like, no, I'm sorry, we don't loan out these chassis because we've obviously invested a good amount of money in them, and the potential for somebody new, completely new, to try it and break your chassis is high, and we want to prevent that. So it's important that we have these things in place to allow these people to come and try drifting out, because believe me, once that person has the radio in their hand and they operating the chest the drift car, and they're able to make like one or two bends, the likelihood of that person coming back and saying, guy, please, can you organize me a drift car? I've had to go with your car and I absolutely love it and I really enjoy it. Or they come and tell you, you know what, my son enjoyed this, or my daughter enjoyed it, and I want to get it for them. And, that's what we want. That's how we're going to grow the hobby. And that's how you're going to get people to come into the hobby. So you need to try, for all the club owners out there, all the track owners out there, if you haven't already been doing this or doing this kind of thing, you should really look into organizing a couple of loaner cars and having them available for people to for driftwood, especially when we're doing demos and exhibitions, because that's where we get the most amount of foot traffic in the shortest space of time. So to have these loaner cars to allow people to come in and have a go with the car, believe me, is going to make a world of difference in growing the hobby. So definitely look at that. So this leads me to my next question, or rather my next topic, which is the World RC Drift Championship. As we all know, the last Worlds was in 2019, was last year, and due to some unfortunate circumstances, and I don't mean our current situation, due to some unfortunate circumstances, Worlds was not going to be held this year. So there was a number of issues surrounding that. I'm not going to go into those issues right now. But yeah, it's left a big gaping, sad hole in the world of RC drifting, because I think all of us were looking forward to attending Worlds, and to hear that Worlds had been cancelled and unfortunately it's not going to be held, just sort of killed us a little bit. But I am happy to say that there's a very big interest and a very big movement into getting Worlds started up again. So the target is next year, is 2021. However, if things don't work out, then most likely it's going to happen in 2022, which which kind of piques my interest even more, because it does leave a lot more of us with a lot more time to save up and get ourselves to Worlds. So guys, this is a very exciting opportunity for us to get to Worlds. And believe me, even if it's just one time, even if it's just once in your life, you got to try your best to get yourself to the World Championship. It is a place like no other that you will ever experience. And take it from me, from personal experience, you will probably never experience anything like going to the World Championship and drifting there. Being amongst the best of the best in the world, all under one roof. For for me, when I got to Worlds, and from the time I walked through the door, I was like a complete fanboy, because I was like, there's Kim Grande, and there's Daniel Christoph, and there's Hayato, and there's Ryu, and there's all of these mind-blowing and brilliant RC drifters that we've been following for a number of years. We've been chatting to for years, and then finally meeting up with these guys, and then talking with some of them, and like for me, it was an unbelievable experience. It's so hard to describe how good and how amazing that whole journey was. And then I got to meet up with the guys uh, from Overdose, and then I got to talk to Takahiro. So one of my highlights of the whole worlds was getting to talk to Takahiro one on one for about half an hour straight. Just myself and him by ourselves having a good old chat about RC drifting, and it was one of the best moments I could have asked for, and and then also one of the biggest highlights for me as well was finally meeting up with my Kamua D family, Daniel, Christoph, David, and Jenny and Daniel and Rob. Oh, my bro Rob, Nick, and my other bro Asif. And between these two guys, and all, actually between all of them, they have such big hearts, guys. You just gotta make yourself, gotta get yourself to Worlds. I promise you, you will be absolutely blown away. It'll be the trip of your dreams. Believe me. You guys got to get yourself there. I see a few of my regulars are here. We got Bob and Stefan. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. It's okay. You guys are always there. You guys are always around. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you to everybody else who's tuned in. You guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for all of this support. Really appreciate it. So yeah, so that was World's Championship. Like, I'm hoping that it does happen soon. It does happen next year. But I do understand that there's a lot of work and a lot of logistics and finances to take care of in order to make an event like Worlds work. So, when just a side note, when you actually put your mind to it, and you just sit down and you genuinely and sincerely think about everything that actually goes into making Worlds what it is, you got to Michelle and Claudia for the work that they've done in hosting the World's Championship. It's a crazy amount of work, and just organizing such an event is really something to marvel at. So whatever it may be, we got to give them that credit. It's a crazy amount of work, and for them to have done what they did for so many years, I think it's they deserve our praise and our respect for doing what they're doing. So I genuinely hope that Worlds happens next year. But if it happens in 2022, it'll actually be a little bit more better for me, because I I genuinely intend on going again for Worlds, and this time I'm going to be a lot more prepared. Hope I'm going to improve on my position. Unlike last year, where, well, despite all my shortcomings, I did manage to qualify. So I am pretty proud of that. That at the very least, I managed to put some points on board, and I managed to qualify. So I'm quite happy with that. Um, so, with that being said, what are your hopes or intentions for RC drifting in the future? I mean, what do you guys foresee in the future for RC drifting? It's pretty obvious that um, things are never going to be the same. This pandemic, this epidemic, whatever the hell you want to call it, this ghastly thing that has totally disrupted our lives, has changed the world globally forever. We're never gonna be the same. Never, never, never. So, uh, and at the same time, it does concern me what's going to happen with RC drifting, because we can't continue to keep this thing going on behind closed doors. It's a very social sport. It's a very social hobby, and uh, we need people to be there in order to keep it going and keep it lively. So, how do you see RC drifting moving forward in your country? That's my question to you. I'd love to hear your responses. If it's now, if it's later, I'll cover it again in next week episode. Uh, but just to hear your feedback, like what do you think is going to happen to RC drifting in your country or your town, or whatever. Where I am, um, the interest is definitely there. I do see it growing a little bit, and I'm I'm doing my absolute best to try and keep it going with the people I interact with and with the new people I've come to know and interact with. And I like I said, I definitely try my best to keep them motivated as well. So I'm hoping that we reach safe enough levels so that we can get to the track again. And I'm terribly missing the track, because there's so much I want to do besides drifting. There's so much of testing and tuning that I want to do and I want to try out, and I'm I want to get back into competitive drifting again, and go up against my buddies and compete at a national championship and a regional championship. um, and then I also just want to drift with my friends again, just have a good time at the track. uh, so I'm hoping we reach a point where we're able to go out as normal. However, taking into account obviously the safety precautions, the health precautions that we got to take. But yeah, definitely want to get back into there. Um, I just hope that we reach those kinds of levels where we're able to travel a little bit more freely again. However, international travel, I honestly don't see that happening anytime soon. Uh, it's probably going to be, I don't know. I think it's only probably going to be like another year before we are able to travel internationally again. But that's just my opinion, and I don't know how you guys feel about that. Okay, so Stefan says, I see a big open event in Europe. That's pretty awesome. I'm very happy to hear that Europe is starting to move towards that. Um, I have uh, I have spoken to a few friends of mine who have been able to get to their tracks with a small number of people drifting there, which is very encouraging because this means that they still keeping things going. So it's interesting. Okay, let's see. So Assad says, in our country before the breakout, we are struggling in growing. But hopefully next month we will find a dedicated track this time. And I personally started to initiate contacts with one-in-one drifters to have more audience. But all of this depends on the social distancing rules. We have to hope for the best though. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that as well. And I do hope you guys get a permanent check and are able to keep that running. Um, let's see. On this side, we do have our number of permanent tracks, which is good. And these tracks are in use, which is also good. Uh, at the current time, obviously, due to our lockdown and quarantine conditions, we're not able to get to the track just yet. But I believe we are slowly um, how can I, what's the word? We're slowly coming off the stricter rules. So we're starting to be able to move around a little bit better, which is very encouraging. And I know the first thing I want to do is get to the track. Um, we have been in I do keep in touch with a few of the one-in-one drifters, but in this country, in South Africa, we have uh, guys who are interested in motorsport, be it racing and or drifting. They they're not so much into RC drifting. So as big as it is in SA, it really isn't that big where we have a huge amount of support for RC drifting. So which has been part of my mission and my journey to give more exposure to RC drifting in South Africa. Um, I'm happy to say that the East Coast RC Drift Club, which is my club, we do get called upon to do quite a few exhibitions and demos with a few very generous people. One of them being Gas Magazine. Uh, they've been very instrumental in helping us get the word out there in my town, and um, they always enjoy having us there, and we always enjoy being there because we get good crowds. We get a lot of interaction, and a lot of people who started drifting with us actually met us at those exhibitions and shows. Or so that's very encouraging as well. Uh, then the other guys, well, recently, just before lockdown, we actually did an exhibition for a BMW Supertech dealership that's not too far from where I stay. And again, that was brilliant. That was a really good day. There was really good interaction. The manager or the dealer principal of that branch was actually very impressed, and he was very keen on having us again for more of his open days and stuff. So that's part of our style with getting RC drifting out there. I don't know if you guys do the you know, I can't say that if you guys do that, because I have seen a number of guys out in Europe and in the US doing some drift events at car shows. I know a few of the guys have done the hot import nights in the US, and in Europe. I know there's a couple of events that guys go and do some demos there, which is fantastic. So keep that up, keep that going. Hey guys, thanks for joining in again. Um, okay, so Bob says, yeah, we need a big event or maybe more big events in Europe to go alongside Cross Games and Italian Sideways. The D110 Worlds cancellation has left a big hole in the RC Drift world. 100%, man. I absolutely agree with you. Even us here in South Africa, hearing that Worlds has been cancelled will actually, kind of hit us a bit hard, especially for us that's been there, because when we came back and we started sharing our experiences about Worlds, I was very encouraged to see the number of people who put their hands up and said, okay, next Worlds, we want to come. So, for the next World Championship, you're definitely going to see a lot more South African drivers coming in. So, it's going to be awesome. It's gonna be fantastic. I think we all really gonna like it. Um, so just for the guys that just joined in, welcome to the B Rock RC show. This is your boy Bob Rock, and this is a live podcast for the drifters by a drifter. Thank you again for listening in. I really appreciate the support. Um, all my podcasts are uploaded onto my YouTube channel. Time to time, I upload the link onto the profile, so you guys can catch all my previous podcasts there. Please like and subscribe, and share with all you guys. Um, so back to where I was. At the moment, I'm actually not quite busy with any RC drifting projects because I am working from home, and I'm at the same time watching the kids because schools are closed for the moment, and I can't really leave my kids anywhere. So I'm watching them and working from home. So I am a little bit busy, but at the same time, I am trying to make some time for my RC stuff. The next thing I am working on is my Street Jam R31. So I'm just gonna rebuild that and sort of shine that up, add some electronics in there, and get that CS chassis going again. I think I'm gonna be able to do it a lot more justice because I'm definitely armed with a lot more knowledge about these cars, and I'm definitely going to be able to do better with that chassis. So, gonna set that up again. It might be a bit of a shelf queen, might be a loaner car. I don't know. I don't know. I will see. Maybe I'll give it to my boy and let him drift it. Gotta keep gotta keep that legacy going. And I've got so many, so why not? And who better to pass on than your son? So it's gonna be really cool. Um, let's see. So we have been talking a little bit about the future of RC drifting and what you guys think. Um, this whole situation has really made things so difficult with trying to get RC drifting going and growing. And as some of you have mentioned, um, yeah, having worlds cancelled has definitely left a really big hole in the RC drifting world. I mean, yes, there are really big uh, uh, tournaments around, international tournaments. I mean, there's TDC, there's the Yokomo International Drift Meet, there's the RCDC E-Drift Championship, um, there's Cross Games. There's those events going out there, but from what I can from what I can tell and from what I've heard people speak about, they still don't quite compare to Worlds. I think there's just something about the World's Championship that sets it apart from everything else. So I just hope that the guys who are working on it, please, fingers crossed, I hope you guys get it together and put this event together because we all are missing it, and we all want to be there for Worlds. Um, so I'd love to hear from you guys now. What are you guys up to? Um, any new projects that you guys are working on? I haven't seen too many new projects. Let's see. I have seen something from my friend Daniel Christoph. Uh, this guy is like a genius, man. So he's busy working on developing his own rear-wheel drive chassis. I've seen some pics he posted of it, and it looks very interesting. So I'd love to get his words on that. So perhaps I'll bring you guys more about that in the next episode. And then in my previous episode, in the previous podcast, I spoke to you guys about Oriolai and then in his new chassis, and the intention behind this new chassis that he's going to be releasing soon is that his aim is to produce a chassis that's easy to tune, easy to drive for the beginner. But when you see the running videos of this chassis, it's amazing with the way this chassis runs, and it does allow for different layouts, so for different motor positions as well. So you do or you are able to put it into a rear motor configuration, and then this thing becomes a different animal altogether, which is awesome. I love seeing this kind of development where you give the end user options to play around and find a setting that's more inclined to their own driving style, or giving you options to develop your own driving style, and that's a beautiful thing. And more power to these guys who go into R&D and do all of this work. And same like with Overdose bringing the GARM version 2. So I think they have taken note of I won't say the importance, but the benefits of having that curved rack, and a few little adjustments to the lower arms and the knuckles. So they've introduced new and improved parts for the GARM, which will be shipped with all the GARMs that are being produced now. And that curved rack and stuff, I think that's going to be great. So it does show that these manufacturers don't just produce a chassis and then lay back. And if you guys, if any of you guys follow Yodo-san, you'll know from his blogs that he's always developing something on the GARM at Overdose. He's always busy testing some part, or testing a setting, or researching something. So it's very, very encouraging. And again, another manufacturer that's constantly in development is D-Like. They always researching and developing and finding out ways how to improve better on their chassis. And most recently they produced the multi-link system for the hybrid, which is an unbelievable upgrade to the hybrid. Unfortunately for me, I wasn't able to get my hands on that. Who knows, maybe sometime in the future I'd be able to get that. But from what I can tell and from what I've heard, this thing is a beast of an upgrade for your hybrid. So definitely, if you are able to, you guys should definitely get your hands on the multi-link. Yeah, definitely need to get yourselves one of those. Let's see what else. Well, I've to be honest, I've pretty much covered what I wanted to speak about today. So just for the guys that just joined in, I'd just like to recap a little bit. We spoke about the steady growth of newbies who are coming into the hobby, and how we need to take care of these guys, and we need to keep them within the hobby. And when they are asking for advice, how we approach them, how do we answer them, that greatly affects whether they're gonna stay or whether they're gonna go. what I have found from personal experience is that if you are warm and welcoming in your responses to these new guys, they are more inclined to listen, they are more inclined to stay within the hobby, and they are more inclined to share the positive experience with their friends, so that further encourages more people to inquire or to join into the hobby. So those of us who have that uh, that sort of character in them, let's try and be a little bit more positive. Let's try and be a little bit more encourage instead of discourage with these new guys, because ultimately we can't keep this hobby going by ourselves. We need the newer guys, we need the younger guys to come in and join in and also experience what we experiencing and enjoy what we are enjoying and have fun in the fun that we are having. And when you really think about it, all of this knowledge and wisdom that we are gaining in this hobby, if we don't have anything to or anyone to pass it on to, what's the point of us uh, going so far in the hobby? You know, what's the point of us having all of this knowledge and stuff and we're not sharing it and not passing it on for generations to come? So this is why we need to be a little bit more patient, a little bit more understanding, a little bit more encouraging, and I'm sure we're going to get a lot more guys joining in. Okay, so I have a few comments which I'd like to just you know speak to you guys. Okay, so Assad said, I noticed an increase in buying RTRs, mostly MSC RMX during the lockdown, which is something encouraging that people are still attracted to the hobby even during hard times. Yes, 100%. 100%. I think MST has actually done themselves a really good thing by producing an RTR rear wheel drive kit. Because and I've noticed the same as well with a lot of new guys who they want to come into the hobby, but they want a complete package instead of trying to piece together a kit. And perhaps, and this is just a suggestion to the other manufacturers out there, perhaps that is something that you guys need to look into for the future, into producing a little beginner kit that's completely ready to run, and I mean completely ready to run for newer guys that's coming in, because these some of these new guys that want to get into drifting and they want to go, they heard rear wheel drive is the way to go, they want to get into rear wheel drive, and the only RTR kit available is the MST. However, they like Yokomo, for example, but Yokomo doesn't make an RTR kit. So for someone who's very inexperienced to now piece together a full kit is a very overwhelming thing, because they're going to put up one post on one of the drifting groups and they're going to ask, guys, I'm a newbie, I want to get into drifting, I like the YD2, how do I go about, what do I need? You're going to get like 50 people telling that one person what they need, and this is going to overwhelm that person even more, and it's just going to be such a headache, such a mission for that person to piece everything together. Now for us who have been around, we can buy a kit from here and piece together things from everywhere, but for someone who's a newbie, it can be a little bit discouraging as well, because once they hear now, okay, you got to buy a kit from this store, and then you got to go to that store to get the radio, and then that store to get the battery, and then this store to get the your electronics. And by the time he pieces together this car, it's already a couple of months. Whereas if you have a complete package from one person or from one manufacturer, you go to one store, you buy this thing, boom, it's done. You're ready to run. So hence I say MSC did themselves good by producing that RCR kit. Okay, so Bob says for the future of drifting, one thing he has witnessed in Germany, and maybe it's true for other countries, is the standard of driving in the last year has risen a substantial amount. There are 10 or more drivers pushing one another, and with many coming up under that. He has Sven and Marco and Daniel and Seb and others. The standard has gone ever upwards in a year, speed and scale. I think the Japanese dominance might have not been so clear cut if there was a Worlds this year. Maybe this is true for the UK and other countries, but certainly for Germany. Very, very interesting, um, and and somewhat I tend to agree with Bob there in that uh, I definitely agree. The level of drifting is definitely going up. I noticed that even here in SA, we have a much larger amount of rear-wheel drive drifters than before, and everyone's pushing everybody else to improve. And this is an amazing and a fantastic thing for the hobby, because what it means that the skill level becomes so high, so high that uh, uh, you know you enjoy it every time, all of the time. With that being said, and I know I use those words too often, but I think now is a time when uh, the judging needs to we need to get more people in a high level of judging as well. Now we know we have James, and there's Owen and Timo around. Um, those are the only three really big time judges that I know of. I mean, there's Michelle as well, but I don't know if he would judge again. Um, so the reason I'm mentioning all of this is because I'm taking a cue from Japan, where there's the RCDC committee, and uh, they produce the certified judges. So there's a whole course and testing and all sorts of things that you got to do in order to qualify as a judge. And I believe even within that, there's different levels of judges. So this this leads me to believe that uh, there's very high standard of judging in Japan. And with that formation of the RCDC and that certified judging, um, I think maybe it's something that we should look at globally. You know, maybe there's something we can set up to that kind of effect, where uh, we set up something similar to RCDC, where people go on a course, and then they get tested or judged at their ability of judging, and then they are certified to be or or qualified to be a certified judge, that kind of thing. I think and I think for competitive drifting, that would make a much better impact. I think that it would be uh, I think drifters in general would then respect the judge's decision a little bit more, if they know that these people are certified. Yes, there's always room for error, but I think that if we have this kind of judging procedure or judging criteria, or judges in general, I think the room for error will be far less, and people would respect the decisions a little more than what's out there now. I don't know. That's just my opinion, but maybe there's a couple of people I can I'll speak to, and maybe we can do something about it. Let's see what we come up with. But yeah, guys, thank you all so much for listening in. It has been a wonderful show once again. Thank you for all of the support and the feedback. I'd love to hear more feedback from you guys regarding the show. Is the show good? Is it bad? What can I do to improve on it? Am I talking utter nonsense? If I'm talking absolute rubbish, guys, you need to call me out on it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I will accept it, and I will improve on it, and I'll do my best not to make more mistakes like that. But really, your feedback really helps me build a better show and produce a better show for you guys. So please, drop a comment, drop some criticism, drop some feedback, and let's hear what you guys got to say about the show. So once again, thank you all so much for tuning into today's episode of the B-Rock RC show. I hope you guys stay well and are safe, and hope you guys continue with your RC drifting projects. If any of you guys would like to collaborate, just hit me up. If anybody wants to would like me to give some exposure to your company or your brand or your club or your track or your country, or even if you want me to give you more exposure to yourself as an RC drifter, just hit me up. I'll be most welcome to I'll be most encouraged to speak on it and give you guys some airtime and show you guys more. So if you guys are ever interested in something like that, just hit me up, and we are good to go. So once again, keep well, take care, see you guys soon, and just remember, I'm watching all of you guys. I'm not stalking. I'm just merely observing what you guys are busy with. So take care, guys. See you guys. And this is Bob Rock on the B-Rock RC Show. Peace.